All right, so you basically got through high school together, and now you followed on. And so by the time, so we're going to get to getting married your
Okay.
junior year, but I'd like to find out a little bit
Okay.
about how you got to that point as far as proposals. Because you've been dating for how long?
3 years.
Well,
We started dating as seniors. It was actually November 22nd.
so it's only really
Was
a
our
year
first
and a half before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, you can tell them how we got engaged.
No, I can't.
Okay, I'll tell.
It was much more interesting from her point of view. Like,
Poor, you know how shy he was about asking me out. Well, he was still kind of shy about asking me to marry him.
Well, I would think.
Yeah,
That's a little bit more of a commitment.
he hadn't changed a whole bunch about being kind of shy. But anyway, I told you, Duane and he would come to see Marilee and me, and we were sitting on this couch down in the basement. It was a red velvet couch that made you sink down in. You could hardly get out of it. And I think Marilee and Duane were on it too.
yeah.
And he kind of leaned over and whispered to me, "Will you marry me?" And I think I said yes.
She did. It was a spur of the moment thing.
Huh.
Yeah, so that must have been in the winter of our freshman
Freshman
year,
year.
actually. We'd been dating about a year at that point.
Oh, wow. But then you had an engagement for about 2? Mm-hmm. So then you went through your sophomore year and then about
Right.
halfway through. So about another year and a half.
December of our
Right.
junior year.
It's kind of the template that Melissa and I had.
Really?
Yeah, except for we only were dating for like three, I don't know how many months. But then it was 13 months as an engagement.
What about you and Todd?
Well, we dated from the end of our freshman year in college.
No, you dated from when the time you were,
You were 5.
Oh,
It was just sporadic.
yeah. End of our freshman year to our junior year. We got engaged the summer of our we had
Between your junior and senior
senior year, and then we got married a week after we graduated.
Yes, I remember that one.
Married in very hot weather.
So back to the red velvet couch.
Yeah,
So you said yes.
yes.
But you didn't have a ring, no knee, nothing like that.
Spur of the moment. Bing.
I think I'll ask Mom to marry me.
Yeah, it wasn't pre-planned.
It really wasn't?
No.
Oh, I bet it was, kind of. I mean, you were thinking about it, weren't you?
I thought about it right then.
Okay.
Okay.
It wasn't real romantic, okay.
Okay. So,
Going on.
well, but then, I mean, you do have to tell the story about the, so how long was it between the proposal and then when you got some kind of token of...
Yes, I did. It must have
Your
been the next
engagement?
summer.
I think so.
I think it was in winter when we got engaged. And then the next summer, somehow I was visiting.
She was down in Dearborn.
Yeah.
We were actually driving around Detroit.
Yeah, for some reason.
We were down right on Woodward Avenue, and I was looking for a place to park, and I
Oh.
gave her engagement present.
He had a watch. At that time, engagement rings were kind of frowned upon, diamonds and wedding rings even, but
Huh. Why so? I mean, just don't adorn yourself and
I guess,
be
yeah.
outwardly
right.
fancy.
Right, and he's driving, and all of a sudden he says, "Here, you might as well have this," and throws this box over on my lap. And I opened it, and it's a watch. It's an engagement watch.
Yeah.
Were you excited when you realized kind of what it was?
I think I kind of knew I was going to get it ahead of time,
She did.
Was
but
that,
I didn't know at that point in time. you know.
was that typical for
Yeah,
engagements at that time?
I
Not
think
a
it was.
ring,
Yes.
but a...
Yeah.
Well, if you went to the Free Methodist Church, it was because they didn't wear rings and they didn't
Right.
wear jewelry and
Yeah, but we did have wedding rings.
Okay.
So,
But-
did your parents and grandparents not have wedding rings?
Well, grandparents certainly did not, and
parents did.
parents did, but yeah,
Okay.
against the grandparents'
I
wishes.
mean, back during World War II, when they were married, Mom said it really all of a sudden felt really weird to be walking around with this little 1-year-old
yeah.
and no husband and no wedding ring, and so it just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
They-
Well, to me, that's the appearance of evil, but
So anyway, it was a slow thing.
it was slow. And mom and dad, Mom was a rebel anyway. And then, so they had wedding rings really early. And, well, Aunt Beth and Uncle Elwood got wedding rings too, but every time Aunt Beth would go up north to Grandma and Grandma, she'd cover it with a Band-Aid. And that upset my mother, our grandma. Anyway.
Oh, that's funny.
Just a little aside, but we did. We got married by Grandpa Valer, but
In December.
He wouldn't December
22nd.
of our junior year, and he wouldn't do a ring ceremony, so we put him on afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And then you tell the little story after our honeymoon. Went on a honeymoon, but then we came back.
Came back to the up north cabin,
Mm-hmm.
and next door was the church
On the corner.
on the corner.
That was there that long.
Yes,
Because we remember seeing the church,
Grandpa donated that,
that land.
property.
and he may have
built-
helped build the church.
Yeah, I think he
wouldn't
Wouldn't
be
be
surprised.
surprised.
if he-
Was it a Free Methodist church?
Yes.
It was. Okay. Huh.
So he was preaching,
Yeah.
and the floor of the
Sanctuary.
sanctuary was tile, and my ring was a little bit large. It was new and large, and I was playing with it, and the next thing I know, I dropped it. And it went going boing, 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 all the way up to the front. There were only like 3 rows of people in the church, okay? And so we were sitting in the second or third row. And it went up to the front of the church, hit the altar, and went, I don't think Grandpa actually saw it, or he acted like he didn't. And, yeah.
I thought I heard that he quietly went down, picked it up, put it in his pocket, and gave it to you later.
No, that would have
No.
been sharp, but that he, no.
I think you retrieved it.
Yeah.
Quietly, discreetly.
That was
Put it in my
funny though.
phone.
But,
So I would like to hear. So you guys got married in December, and
62.
in '62. Okay, and then you got to go on a honeymoon. So, I mean, kids are going to the Caribbean these days, and places warm and all that kind of stuff. You probably didn't go any place
we did
warm.
not. We did not do that.
It snowed the night of our wedding.
Oh yeah.
When we came out,
It was awful.
there was snow on the ground, a couple inches. And Dick Gilroy, my best man, was driving us back to wherever our car was. And,
We had to hide our car because at that point in time they were always doing tricks and stuff.
Oh,
So we had it hidden.
okay. Or
but
you may not have had seats in it. Or,
They were bad.
But anyway, the snow was so bad that he had to just creep along at about 10 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
And the crown in the road, you had to stay right in the middle,
Yeah.
or you'd slide off into the ditch. It was
Whoa.
It was scary.
nasty.
It was
And then the
scary.
whole next day, on our way to Pennsylvania through Canada, New York, there were people in the ditch everywhere. We
Oh,
were
my goodness.
putting along in our little VW, just
and rear wheel drive, probably.
Yes,
It was
absolutely.
scary.
It was a beautiful car.
But
It handled snow like nothing.
It did.
Like
As
nothing
a-
else you could buy.
Or
at
was
the
it
time.
front wheel? Did they even have front wheel at that point? Because the engine
no.
was in the back.
Engine was in the back.
That's the reason it did well, because it
yes,
had weight
it had
over the
weight
wheels.
over the wheels. That's exactly right.
Interesting.
Yeah, very good.
and we went to a honeymoon resort in the Pocono Mountains, run by a Christian family, and it was a ball. I mean, we had
Most of the kids that were there were from Canada.
Okay.
Why I don't know, but there was a doctor and his wife and another couple that we stayed in contact with for probably 10 years after we were married.
Well, we had
and
our
they
own-
were both from
we
Canada.
had our own little cabin with our name on it, and we went. Did we go ice skating?
Ice skating and roller skating. We played basketball on roller skates. We played hockey on roller skates.
They had rifle range. They had
It was
had
crazy.
sleigh ride.
So okay, so when you were playing, were you guys on the same team?
No, it was the
No.
guys against the
Guys
guys
playing
and the
game.
girls against the girls.
Oh, okay.
But what basketball in particular, you'd get near the basket to take a shot, and all you had to do was
Push
just zoom, and they weren't lined up anymore, and it was
Okay,
great.
who had a scholarship after?
crazy.
Mom or you?
She did very well. Yeah.
It was funny, but we really enjoyed that.
My favorite pictures from that are your old-fashioned bathing suits and in the swimming pool trying to get across a log.
They had the long log, across the thing, and on the end was they had, dug out a place and put a silver dollar. And so the idea was to go across the log and get the silver dollar. Well, they put Vaseline on the log, and whoop, bloop.
You could not stay on it, but we probably tried more than anybody else.
Yeah, but nobody, I think, went more than halfway.
But our
It
bathing
just-
suits were cute.
Yeah,
They were. That
they
was
were
really
the old,
fun.
and we had the hat.
It's funny. But it was a great time. But Jim was so nervous before we got there. We stopped at a hamburger joint, and he ate. Talk about hot dogs that time. He ate 3 or 4 hamburgers. I mean, he ate an abundance of food. You did the whole honeymoon.
Yeah.
I wrote it down what he ate. It's absolutely amazing.
So he went in 155, came out about 190.
Were you there for a full week? Was it a 1 week thing?
No, 3 days. I
Oh,
think.
3 days. Okay.
Wasn't it?
More than that, I think.
I know it was. It seemed fairly short.
Okay. Yeah.
Then we know we were there for Christmas Day, and anyway.
So this was basically squeezing it into the same time period we're in now, over the Christmas period, and then
Break.
kids having to come back in January for college.
You betcha.
Yep, we had to be back.
And
We had an apartment already, must be.
yeah, in Lansing.
So before we moved to your apartment, where was the wedding? I can't remember.
In Flint,
Okay,
but it wasn't in her church because their
No.
church was
They
being
were being built. It was
built.
being built.
Huh.
They were moving from a little church to a bigger church.
So
and
we rented a
was a
Methodist
Methodist
church
Okay.
there.
Yeah, I never.
It was pretty, and we had Christmas trees, frosted Christmas trees with pink balls on it.
Yeah.
And then the girls were in pink gowns.
Yeah.
With fur around their collar. Yeah.
It was very festive.
It
It was
was.
kind of right out of White Christmas.
It was. Right.
Very close.
So
It was
where, Bing Crosby didn't come and
No,
sing?
he did. We couldn't get him.
It was Fred Astaire was in that one too, wasn't it?
Yep. Yep.
And then I can't remember what the sisters were.
Yes.
It wasn't the Andrews sisters, but anyway.
But I do have to tell you that at our wedding, we bugged this girl who was working in the dean of students office to tell us what our grades were,
Oh.
and she didn't want to tell us.
She came to the wedding.
because he had flunked one of those courses,
The physics. Yeah.
that physics, and I had a D in one of the chemistry classes.
Oh man.
And
So
we'd
she's
never-
like, these guys aren't very smart, but they're really cute.
I'm not telling.
she did not want to tell us, but we finally got it out of her.
Oh.
I worked in the dean of students office too, so I knew she could find out.
Oh yeah. So were you disappointed a little? For
Yeah.
just like half a minute?
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, we're going on a honeymoon.
Yeah.
We don't care.
I never had anything lower than a B before, but
Oh.
yeah, it was okay. I don't know if that's what I took over again. I don't think so. I think that just brought my average down.
So you'd already had an apartment set up before you guys left?
Must be. I
I
remember
don't-
moving into it.
Yeah, I don't remember whether we must have
I think.
found it ahead of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I'm sure we did.
And then you would have had everything out of your dorms.
I was the only one in the dorm.
Oh, because you were staying with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the Brody group at Michigan State,
Okay.
and yeah,
But I remember moving in with our stuff. And I remember Vicky was little. And the first time she had been in our apartment, the toilet was all yellow and stuff. And the second time she came back and she was so excited because I had cleaned it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just remember that.
but we moved with the VW. I mean, the VW Bug
Oh, yeah,
is
yeah,
what we had
Yeah.
to move all of our stuff.
Wow.
We didn't have
But we
furniture.
did it in a half a day.
It was a furnished
She just made
apartment.
several
Oh.
trips.
Yeah,
We did not have, it was furnished.
the first one was,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And the second
But you
one,
probably
Yeah,
still
that's
had
true.
all your
wedding gifts and stuff.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And books
gifts
and stuff like
I
that.
think some of our wedding gifts we actually left. I know we left them at home because my mother later confessed to going down and getting, it was a party set where you had, you know, a glass plate like this and a place to put your cup, and she wanted to use it for something, and she tripped and fell and broke them. She felt absolutely horrible. Anyway, it was just kind of funny.
So that one was a 1-bedroom, 2.
One bedroom,
Oh, yeah, 1 bedroom.
crazy little
Kitchen and,
with an old fashioned. I mean, the stove was really
Yeah.
bad. We had to put a
and a little
temperature
living
thing
room
inside.
area.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but it was. But that was $60 a month.
Wow.
Oh, and I do need to tell you that I got a national defense loan for $1,000, and it paid for Jim and me and our books for a whole year.
What?
Yeah. A semester was around $103 or something like that for
The term.
for the
It's a term.
tuition for per
Oh
term.
my goodness.
Yeah.
What? $103.
Yeah,
2 college paying parents right at the table with you. I'm like, oh, that'd
I
be
know.
good.
You know, it was sad. I mean, that's sad for you guys. It was good for us. That's our only loan that we had.
Yeah.
Huh.
And we paid that off fairly quickly.
But we both had part-time jobs too.
Yeah.
We were
I started
to
working
pay
in
for
the,
our food and our
in the computer
dorm.
department there
Really?
at Michigan State. Yeah.
So you were kind of interested in computer. That's maybe the connection
Oh,
with
yeah.
computers for later.
Yeah, and we learned all of the back when the cards were 80 columns and big cards, IBM cards.
Okay.
We learned all of the manipulation machines, how you'd sort them, and all. There were several machines that we had learned to be able to do that job, because our job was basically they had people who were working on their degrees, and they would go out and they would do some kind of data collection on. I mean, I remember one specific, I think it was in the Dominican, and it came back and it was all in Spanish. I mean, they had a little booklet that they had the people fill out and marked, 300 questions or something like that. And then it all got put on the cards, and then they would run it through these different statistical programs to,
I always picture the Sesame Street thing with the baker. He's like, 10 chocolate, and then he falls down the stairs. And I thought, man, if you ever had a box of those cards and you
Oh,
I'm like, oh,
They're terrible.
I remember cards being dropped.
Oh, yeah.
And what you basically had to do was you had to start all over again and sort them into the correct order, whatever
but did
that
they
was.
have 1, 2, 3? I mean, did they have numbers on them?
Must have been
0,
Was there?
12, 1, 2, 3, 4, down through 9, and there were 80 columns.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'd sort them manually, one row at a time, into the correct orders based on what it is they were running that time.
And our watches have more power than that now. I mean, just crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Huh.
But that was sort of a look back at even at the time, because the bigger computers, the IBM 360s and 370s, were out there being used in industry, but they were 5-6 years behind what was going on in.
But it was a good intro to what you would do
Oh
later.
yeah, it was very basic. I mean, I learned how to wire the boards.
Wow.
That said, take something out of the first column and put it here, and it was amazing.
And I learned how to do filing. I worked out in the Dean of Students.
Okay.
And I may have gotten that job because of Uncle Elwood. I don't know. Because Uncle Elwood was the Dean of Students at Michigan
Well,
State.
see, I never knew that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
didn't know
that's
that?
kind of where his college experience started, or did he do stuff even? Well, he was at Roberts too.
He went to
He
Roberts
was.
later.
Okay.
I think he maybe was dean of students at Michigan State first?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yes.
Oh, he must have
took
been, yeah.
he took Michigan State students out to
The Rose Bowl.
Pasadena
Oh, wow.
to the Rose Bowl on the train and was responsible for the
For
whole
everybody.
thing going out and coming back.
So he was at Roberts when I was at Michigan State, but I think maybe connections. I don't remember that, but
And
I
then
wondered.
his last stint was
Was
at
at Spring Arbor
Yeah.
as the
Okay.
president. 10 years at both.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about this next apartment, and then we'll take a break.
Okay.
But so you were there.
On Pennsylvania.
So now, did you move while you were students, or did you get something after you graduated?
No,
No, we were
we-
definitely
we-
still students.
we knew somebody from Spring Arbor
Mm-hmm.
that had purchased this house, and it had 4 apartments in it. And they lived there while they were in school, but they were leaving, and so they must have
Went to the Air
approached us-
Force.
approached us to see if we wanted to be in charge of the apartment house.
Hmm.
So we were there, and we paid $20 and tell
Yep,
them what we paid
$20 a month.
for.
They went down.
man.
Usually,
You found a
prices
better deal.
increase.
We did.
Well, not necessarily. No.
Wasn't it a better deal?
Well,
No, we
money.
stayed in an upstairs apartment. The roof was like this,
Yeah.
and we had a couch similar
Height of bed.
height of bed that was about as wide as your couch here, and it pulled out every night, and then we put it back together
Oh my goodness, wow.
every morning, and
we shared a bathroom.
shared a bathroom out in the
Across
hall,
the hall.
with a studio apartment in the back of the upstairs. So there
With
were
a-
two apartments upstairs, and then the downstairs was split.
So what did you guys do? Meet in the hallway? Okay. Our schedule this
You
week
know what?
is,
I don't ever remember.
or you
having
just go
too
out and
much-
knock.
I don't remember.
I think we initially talked. When will what's your schedule look like? And we worked it
I
out.
don't know, but it only had a bathtub on.
Legs, feet that stood up.
No shower.
Oh,
Like a
yeah.
cast
With
iron?
The
Yes,
cloth.
yes,
Is that
cloth,
what those are?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. No shower.
I bet you those are expensive to buy now.
Oh yeah, they're coveted. Now they're really
They weren't
nice.
then. They
No,
weren't covered.
no.
Is that, weren't they cast iron with porcelain?
Yeah,
Yes.
it had porcelain.
Yes.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, try to move one of those.
Yes, super super heavy.
oh yeah, they would be.
Upstairs, yes.
But my kitchen, oh, it was tiny. It was really
And it was on,
It was slanted.
Did you have to cook like this?
We did. We had fun.
Yeah.
But that
She
we
was-
were there when J.F. Kennedy was
assassinated.
Really?
That's where
Right.
we were.
Huh.
Yep, we were on our way to the bank, driving down.
You were. I was home, I think.
And-
you came home
and-
with me.
I was listening to the radio, and all of a sudden they broke in, and when I went inside the bank and got my whatever, and came home, and we watched television for up through the weekend.
Kind of like 9/11 was for
I
us.
was gonna
Exactly,
say,
exactly.
Fast forward.
Yep.
So now was
Yep.
I was going to
Remember,
ask
you were with them. At
We were
9/11.
with. Yeah, we were with
Yeah.
them.
Well, I was just going to ask you, when did you end up with a television? When was that kind of common?
I don't even remember having a television there, Jim.
Or did
Did
you
we
go
really?
somewhere else?
I don't remember a television there. Do you remember?
The Cuban crisis happened when I was in Brody, because I remember going from the dorm over to the cafeteria, which was an entire building, and they had televisions there.
But did we have a television?
No, when we first got married, I think there was an old, I don't know,
I don't remember.
in the living room. I think there was an old one there,
In the first apartment?
because we went back, and we watched the Kennedy
you?
situation for about 3 days.
I don't remember.
Wow.
Wow. I don't even know where we had room to have a TV there.
And it was in the
You
living
pulled the
room.
bed out and you didn't have much room in the living room.
No, that was in the first one, on Pennsylvania. There was a television in there. Anyway, I don't think we had a television
The second?
in the second one.
Well, that's when Kennedy got shot in the second one.
Anyway,
Okay. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we're coming up on a hard break based
Yeah.
on timing here. So I think we'll pick it up with graduation and kind of military service and some of that kind of stuff
Okay.
here, kind of in this next segment.
We can do that fast.
Yeah.
You do that. Okay.